Is it live? I think so. Okay, so I'm going to offer anybody who tunes in today, I'm going to offer you a book special. If you purchase When Hunter Meets Seeker in the next 24 hours, hey Jane! Hopefully there's no lag on this one. Hopefully I see them and able to respond pretty quickly. So yes, what I'm going to offer is I'm going to offer a book special that anybody who purchases the ebook copy of When Hunter Meets Seeker in the next 24 hours, I will also direct Kindle you a copy of the first book in the Covenant series. So what I'm going to do now, hey Adam, I'm going to read an excerpt from When Hunter Meets Seeker, and then I'll let folks know again about that special, answer any questions, and then I will head out. All right. The evening breeze blew her curtains inward, casting beautiful shadows over her body, a contrast from the bright light of the moon. Her lights were out, and it gave him relief. Had she killed the shadow walker? He stood there for several moments outside her open window, wondering if he should even go in, but the scent of her won him over, pulling him in like a thread to an empty spool. He stepped near her bed. She cleaned the makeup from her face. The bruises were clearer now, filling the visible side of her cheek and jaw. In her tank top and shorts he could see the cuts and abrasions that he could not see beneath her jeans and long-sleeved shirt she'd worn earlier. His chest tightened at the sight of her injuries. He didn't like seeing her this way. He wondered what happened to her, what she'd fought against, why a shadow walker had been following her, how it was possible that he'd seen her eyes fill with demon green. Too many questions plagued his mind, too many to think about now. He slid into her bed, pushing his ability onto her, keeping her in a restful sleep, dreaming of him, dreaming of them. She moaned a breath and her lips parted. His cock hardened at the sight of her arousal. He bit back a grin as he eased her into his arms. He kissed her softly on the full lips that moaned for him. She curled herself into his chest, and he lay there peacefully, inhaling her incredible scent. As much as he didn't want to trust her, he couldn't bring himself to stay away from her. He wanted to lie with her every night to ensure she was safe, to ensure she dreamt of him and only him. He wanted to do to her what she dreamt of now. He wanted to plunge deep inside her, feel her desire consuming him, feel her giving him life, giving him love, giving him all of her. When he'd seen her tonight at the club, rage had filled him, only to be snuffed out by hope, by intrigue. Maybe there was a possibility for them to trust one another. She'd proven she had no desire to harm him, or his boss, or others. He'd recognized her friend when he'd kicked him out of the club. He'd been one of Serena's clients. He returned to his office after she left and watched the video feed. Anya was right. Serena was causing the sickness in him. Any more, and her friend would have struggled to survive. He understood her choice to protect him, to protect others. His thoughts exploded into tiny fragments when he heard his name escape her lips. It came quietly, softly, barely a whisper. He held her tighter, taking her dream of them deeper into intimacy. Intimacy that only lovers would share. Her hand squeezed his chest as she exhaled an anticipative breath. He ran his thumb over her cheek and jaw, wishing he could take away the bruises. He tangled his fingers into her hair, strumming them through it, taking pleasure in the softness and flowery scent of it. When she moaned and fisted his shirt together, he swelled, his need pulsing. He couldn't keep himself from her any longer. He needed her. Anya. He grazed his hand along her cheek. Her sleepy eyes opened, flittering from her drowsy state of sleep. Dex. His name escaping her lips was a sound as enchanting as music. He thumbed her bottom lip, stroked her cheek, and then kissed her deeply. Her tongue melted into his, warm and inviting. He pulled away to look at her beautiful eyes. Am I dreaming? Do you want this to be a dream? She shook her head and his chest lightened, feeling airy. His incubus body a mixture of raw need and anxious anticipation. I want you, Anya. I want to be inside of you. Will you be mine tonight? She reached up, touching him, as if she needed to be sure he was real. Yes, she said softly. His heart sped up, eager to have her beneath him. He kissed her softly, taking her face in his hand. She gave him as much passion as he'd hoped for. She wanted him just as much as he needed her. He laid her back gently and continued placing soft kisses over her lips, neck, and shoulder as he eased his fingers under her tank top, lifting it as he raised his hand to her breast. Her petite, firm breast filled his hand entirely. He massaged it, thumbing the nipple, hardening it. She moaned beneath him, giving him satisfaction that he could bring pleasure to her so easily. He lowered himself, kissing along her stomach, her sides, licking and nipping as he came to the edge of her shorts. He pulled them from her hips. She raised them, assisting his efforts. With her lying naked beneath him, he admired her body, storing every curve and detail to memory. You're beautiful, Anya, incredibly beautiful. Her eyes glimmered as she watched him undress. He lifted his shirt and eased out of his jeans. Her eyes settled on his erection, and he grinned as lust and desire filled her eyes. He took her hand in his and placed it on him. She stroked eagerly, and as she did, he slid his fingers into her, diving into the hot, wet warmth she had to offer. He plunged, massaging her folds, finding her weak spot. Her feverish strokes hardened him to the point he ached to be inside of her. With her desire strong and her body aching for him to fill it, he removed his touch. She kept hold of him and pulled him down to her, spreading her legs for him. He eased inside of her, driving into the delicious warmth and tight folds of her. With each thrust, his body burned with need for her orgasm, need for her to give herself over to him. Her body arched and the moans came enthusiastically from her lips. He took her harder, coaxing the orgasm from her body. She clung to him in panicked need to survive the ride he was taking her on. Her breathy moans quickened and her fingers dug into his arms. He kept his thrust even, steady, stroking her clit just right, drawing her orgasm fast and intense. As the scorching heat poured over him, he tilted his head back, absorbing her arousal. His body quivered with euphoria. Her arousal was strong, powerful, giving him incredible vitality. He clung to her orgasm for the time it lasted. As it waned, so did his sensation of pleasure. He stayed above her, kissing her tenderly, thanking her for what she'd given him. He nuzzled into her neck and hair. She clung to him, holding him above her, not letting him go. She breathed into his ear, her breast becoming shallow. He could feel her slipping into sleep's embrace. He leaned back, stroking her face, her hair, admiring her beautiful face. He pushed his ability onto her and ensured she slept peacefully. He turned to his side, pulling her body against him, holding her close as he let himself fall into oblivion with her. All right. So the deal for everybody that purchases the ebook copy of When Hunter Meets Seeker within the next 24 hours, PM me, let me know that you show me that you've made the purchase, and anybody who does that within the next 24 hours, I will send you a direct-to-Kindle copy of the first book of the Covenant series. So you get a buy one, get one free deal. So that's going on for the next 24 hours. So make sure to PM me your purchase if you get it. Anybody got any questions before I head out? And if I'm new to you, my name is Betty Shreffler. I write paranormal romance and suspense and contemporary romance. Right now I have a series that's out called the Covenant series. It's got vampires, witches, and werewolves in it. It's steamy, action-packed. And the newest release is When Hunter Meets Seeker. And I'll read the back of it to you. Trained by the Arcane Society to fulfill her legacy as an arcane hunter, Anya Carlyle knows nothing but the loneliness that comes with being a hunter. One evening, in a place she never should have been, throws Anya into the heated snare of Dex Grigori. She should have seen him as the enemy, but instead her body longs for his touch in ways she's never experienced. From the first moment Dex sets eyes on Anya, he wants her all for himself. After one night of forbidden passion, he's left craving more of her, until he discovers how wrong for him she is. She's a deadly hunter that kills without question, and he's exactly the kind of demon she's been trained to eliminate. Yet his fierce desire to have her brings him dangerously close to her heart, where he soon discovers she is far more than the cold killer he anticipated. So that's that book. So, let's see. Question. Evelyn, she asked, your bio says you have 5 fur babies. How do you cope? I have a really good vacuum, and I use it a lot. And honestly, all the hair drives me nuts. They shed like crazy. So yeah, I vacuum all the time. What else? Let's see. How do I, let's see, Jane wants to know how do I read that without blushing. That's my, I think my 4th time reading, and I'm starting to get used to it. The first time I blushed quite a bit, but I'm starting to get used to reading it now. Any other questions before I head out? Thank you, Evelyn, and thanks for having me. Thanks for having me and letting me go live today and talk about my books. I appreciate it. Oh, that's a good question. Evelyn wants to know, who is your favorite of your male characters you've written so far? I have actually written 7 books. 4 of them are out. 3 more of them are going to be coming out this year, hopefully. That's the plan. And out of all of them, there's a cowboy from Fire on the Farm. His name's Brock. I really like him. And then there was a motorcycle romance that I wrote. His name's Jake Castle, and he is really hot, really intense. Just like it says in the book blurb, he melts the panties. So both of them I really like. And then for the paranormal books, I really like Cass, the werewolf in the Covenant series. He's loyal, he's protective, very sexy. Hello, Natalia. Hello. Let's see. Evelyn asked, which of your books would you recommend we start as a new reader? As a new reader, if you just want to test out one book, I would recommend starting with When Hunter Meets Seeker. It's a fast-paced read and very action-packed, suspenseful, really good romance, some steamy scenes. And that would give you a taste of my writing. And from there, if you enjoyed it, I would go into the Covenant series. It's a really, really good series. Like I said, witches, werewolves, vampires. The female lead, that's one of my traits, is that all the female leads are very strong women. They're very tough, kick-ass lead roles. Thank you, Erin. Appreciate the compliment on the Covenant series. I'm glad you loved it. Sheena, yes, definitely check out either When Hunter Meets Seeker or the Covenant series. And if there's any more questions you got? Yep, Erin, the one that Erin is talking about, the MC romance, the Motorcycle Club romance, that's called Castle of Kings. And that is going to be coming out after the Fire on the Farm, the cowboy romance. And the MC romance is very fast-paced and very intense and very hot. Very edgy, an edgy read. Oh, yay, Evelyn, I'm glad you one-clicked. Thank you. Make sure to send me, Evelyn, make sure to send me your, PM me your purchase, and I will get you a copy of the Covenant series, of the first book of the Covenant series. And Evelyn asked, do you prefer writing paranormal or contemporary? Great question. I enjoy reading, not reading, but writing. I enjoy writing both of them equally. With paranormal, I get to create a whole new world, and that part of it is really fun, being able to create a fictional world that I get to suck you into. But with contemporary, usually with the contemporary ones, I like to work on your emotions with that one. Oh, yeah, thank you, Natalia. It's a new phone. The last phone, like, I had a lag behind people asking me questions, and I think it was fuzzy, so I'm glad that this one is working well. All right, so I think that that's it for questions. And so anybody who tunes in late, this book special is running for 24 hours. If you purchase an ebook copy of When Hunter Meets Seeker, please send me a PM of your purchase, and then I will send a direct-to-Kindle copy of the first book of the Covenant series. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Have an awesome weekend.